Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, you might not know, but my name's Lena and I'm doing this little project called My Year of Make Do, where I try and make do with what is in my wardrobe and not add too much stuff to it, but also make my wardrobe, like actually make it with my hands and my sewing machine. It's a big challenge to try and, one, push my skills sewing wise, but also challenge myself to be like, what do you actually want? Like, what, not only are you willing to spend money on or spend, energy on, but what are you willing to sit with for like 15 to 18 hours trying to learn how to make with your hands? Because I think that's a real test of like whether you genuinely want something. And as somebody who is a lover of art, a lover of colour, a lover of creativity, I am so excited by the world of clothes. Not fashion, I would say. Like, I don't know that much about designers. I don't really follow that much of that world. But when it comes to just like textures and colours, it just feels like something that brings me a lot of joy, and it's something that I feel really magnetic towards. And how do I sort that from my positive panic about the climate and the effects that fast fashion and our overconsumption is having on the world? And this project is part of my attempt to solve that in my brain. And one of the stepping stones I know that is vital towards reaching a more healthy relationship with my excitement and love of clothes without dampening that love and that excitement is knowing what I actually want. And that actually is harder than you might think, because I'm so excited by all the things that exist in the world, and I'm just in awe of the humans who invent and create them. I can often feel that zing that feels like this should be mine, when in fact the zing is, I'm so glad this exists. Like, I'm so impressed by it. And in the way that I can go to a restaurant and eat some really nice food but not want to cook it at home because it doesn't fit in with my life and I don't care about it enough to like learn the intricacies of how to make it. Or I go to an art gallery. Like, I don't go to like the Tate Britain and go, I've got to have it, I've got to take it home, because I know that's not realistic and it doesn't take away from the fact that I really enjoyed it. And I wonder sometimes why I can't do that about clothes, and if I can exercise that muscle a little bit to try and work it out. So I thought I would take you today through some of my thought processes of how I'm trying to work that out, how I'm trying to plan what I'm going to make or introduce into my wardrobe, and how to spot the difference. So I'm gonna take you where I rarely take anybody. So feel privileged. I'm going to take you to my Pinterest boards. So welcome to the insides of my Pinterest boards. It's hell in here, to be honest. I'm kidding. It's heaven, but it's not organized. It's just where I will just plop stuff when I get inspiration, or when I'm scrolling, I'm like, wow, I really want to look at that again. I think that social media is so disposable, and it's so like you see something and then your brain forgets it again. And I feel like pinning stuff to my Pinterest board and revisiting that Pinterest board often means that I'm appreciating the art more and feels less disposable when it comes to appreciating other people's stuff, and also helps me remember ideas, like things I genuinely enjoy. And you'll see throughout this process helps me spot those patterns between what I keep enjoying. So I have two Pinterest boards that I have been collecting stuff on for years. This one that you're looking at right now is called my Sewing and Knitting Goals board. So it's got loads of really cool things that I've seen in the world, not necessarily me-mades from other people. This one's like something from a vintage gallery or something, I think. This one's like a coat that you can buy. I think this one's me-made. Some sewing patterns, just things that I'm like, wow, like look at this butterfly jacket. Like, I am glad that exists. Like, what the hell? Look at this tiny little way that somebody's mended some jeans with a little skull. This is so cool. Look at this like netting fabric. Love that. This is iridescent fabric. There's just so much here that's just like incredible to look at. These huge dresses that people have made, this embroidery, like all of it is just like this overwhelming soup that feels like almost a to-do list. Like, it's like, God, I love so much stuff. Like, if I'm going to get all this in my life, like, how am I going to fit it in? It's just also joyous. But also just so much work. And then I have another Pinterest board that is slightly different, but maybe looks the same to you. This board is my fashion inspiration board. So it's not necessarily stuff that I would make or I might want for myself, but just stuff that I'm like, that's wacky, that's a cool idea, that's thinking outside the box. I respect this art. So it does have a lot more catwalk looks, although who knows who the designers are, and also just a lot more kind of like posed blogger shots. But in general, there is like some crossover, I guess, but it's often like more formal stuff and just people that I think have similar body shapes to me that look really good, like outfits that I could see myself in as well. I think that really helps me picture it rather than thinking about the garment, thinking about the silhouette, or like just feeling the confidence to wear stuff, because I can see on the internet that people who have my body shape are wearing it. It's also a place to just like appreciate somebody's layering. Like I love this person's, the way they've layered these two things, and over here as well. So rather than it being the garment that I like, it's just like the way they've put together the outfit that makes me go like, yes. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff on here that I just appreciate as like outfits rather than specific pieces. And you'd think that this is where I would go for my inspiration, to be like, what am I going to wear? Like, what do I want my future wardrobe to look like? What would I add? What should I keep? What do I want more of? What do I want less of? But I realised that when I was looking at these two boards, that these two boards represent my art brain, you know, like the place that my brain goes when it wants to create stuff. And it gets excited about stuff and wants to think about stuff, which is really cool. But my art brain doesn't have to rule my wardrobe brain, because my wardrobe brain also needs to be stuff that I bodily feel comfortable in, that's practical with my life, that's something I know I'll consistently like over the years, rather than stuff that just excites me in the moment and I'm just in awe and I'm like, wow, but it might not be something that I'd return to a lot and like want to remix and sit in and cry in and laugh in and sleep in, you know, like they are slightly different tastes. And what is interesting when you do look at like some designers is that they always, like a lot of the time, they don't dress like their collections. They don't dress, and if that is what the experts are doing, they're not always dressing in the same way that their artistic expression goes, then I wonder what that means for us personally. I think that it doesn't mean that we have to dress all in black to prove that we're arty, you know, but I think that it does mean that there is like a certain separation. So I went on a big journey, and oh boy, this took me hours, but it did stop me scrolling Instagram or stop me like looking to buy new clothes. It was like a great activity, actually. I scrolled through I think each board has like maybe 500 to 700 pins on it. I scrolled through all of it, and I only pinned stuff to a new board I made that was stuff that I genuinely could picture myself wearing, and not in a extenuating circumstance like big event or like moment in my life, but like in my day-to-day wardrobe, like things that I could genuinely picture slotting in very well and bringing me a lot of joy, and just felt like my wardrobe, and letting myself have the excitement about the other stuff, but also just being like, what's for me. And some really interesting results happened. Oh, look at this. Sorry, I'm just getting distracted now. Look at the like highlight frill on that. So cool. Anyway, and again, like collars like this that have like this fringing on, but like, would I wear that? I don't know, but I love it. I think it looks amazing. These amazing sleeves, which I could probably take some inspiration from, but I wouldn't copy completely just for practical reasons. Some of this knitting, like I'll never be able to do knitting like that. That is next level knitting. Don't even know how I would start to approach that, but I love that it's there, and I think I love the colours in it. You know, I'd rob the colours if nothing else. Loads of stuff like that I'm like, wow, this is so cool. Love this too, but I don't know if I'd wear it. Loads of appreciation, but appreciation doesn't mean copying and pasting. So here is my third board. This is I'm calling it my wardrobe vision board, and I didn't think any rhyme or reason. I wasn't trying to match things up or make a pattern when I made it. I just wanted to pin stuff that felt homely and loose as well as creative. And you can see from the silhouettes that I'm a bit more like, okay, but could I sit down in this? You know, could I muck around in this? And I actually went through and unpinned stuff from this board after I did the first pass of it, because I was like, there is stuff on here that genuinely I think I'm just excited about. But I love this layering here. This person is incredible. And like predictably, there's also a lot of colour here. Like I love colour. I'm very much a bright colour person, but there's also a lot of leopard print, as you can see. But there were certain things that I started to see a pattern with. You can see there's the same silhouettes coming up a lot here and here and here. There's often patterns of gingham, patterns of like squares, is happening a lot, which again, I never thought of myself. I actually only own one gingham thing at the moment, but I do admittedly wear it to death. So that was really interesting, that I was more attracted to different kinds of gingham that I hadn't really thought of before. Certain sleeve patterns. These jeans kind of look like jeans I already have actually, so that's pretty cool. Leopard print and sequins coming up a lot, which again, for some other people might not be practical, or like might only be like a once in a lifetime kind of wear, but I'm like, I can think of loads of places I would wear leopard print sequins. Like, that would not be a problem for me. More gingham, kind of this bodice. You can see there's a bodice pattern going on here. Like, this dress has a kind of bodice, kind of corset feel to it, even though it's not a corset. Dodie over here, having a beautiful corset moment. This dress has a kind of corset fitting to it as well. I'm seeing a lot of mini stuff or maxi stuff, but not a lot of in-between stuff, which is also really interesting. Lots of layering, different patterns. I'm not seeing a huge amount of florals, which is weird because I think I like florals and I love this dress. But actually, when it came to pinning the stuff to this board, I was like, where's my florals? Why have I got so much gingham and so many stripes? And also a lot of block colours, which was really interesting. And also you can see you'll notice you start pinning the same thing without remembering, which again is the monkey brain of being like, what do I actually like? Oh yeah, my brain keeps returning to this without me noticing. But yeah, this is my vision board for what I want to make or things that I would accept into my wardrobe. It's not a rule book. To other people, this might look like clashing hell, but to me, all of this looks totally mashable together. And I think that's very different from coherent or matching or like capsule wardrobe, or there's like synergy there, but I think it's all mashable. I like mashing things together, and I think the kind of components that are here, like denim, lime, stripes, gingham, layering, it's all stuff that I am comfortable wearing together, even though like they might be strictly against fashion rules. So what I did was I used a tool on Pinterest that's new called Collage, where you can drop some of your pins into a collage and put them together. It automatically deletes the background and you can play around with them and drag and drop them. So I started going through my boards and dragging and dropping like outfits and pictures of things that I thought were saying the same thing, had something in common. And I pulled them together and I picked 5 different topics, and then I really thoroughly went through, picked my favorite examples. And also they were always examples of things that I thought I could make at the skill level I currently have or might have in the next year, rather than those expert, like I'm not out here making that butterfly blazer, not yet. Things that I thought were doable for my skill set, that looked comfortable for my life, and things that I thought, like things that kept coming up that subconsciously, obviously, I kept gravitating towards. So I thought I'd just talk you through those 5 categories now. So the first category is a red pop. This wasn't exclusive to one kind of item. Red pop could be like socks. I could see some red socks there. I actually have red socks, and I just use them utilitarianly, but maybe I should actually be incorporating them into my wardrobe. Red socks, hats, long sleeve tops to layer under other things you can see there, and also underskirts. I'd like to make some more underskirts, which is basically like a skirt that it's a bit longer, you can wear it under another skirt so it pops out, but also it keeps you warm in the winter. I've done that with one skirt and it's been genuinely life-changing. So you can see on this top right-hand corner there's one of those, and I like this kind of pleated skirt that the person is wearing in the middle. Bags as well, I didn't put bags down, but bags would be a great, like a random pop of red. And red is something that I think I don't suit a lot of shades of red, but the shades of red that I do love and do suit me, I would like to lean into more. And I think it's easier to add a little pop of red into your outfit rather than making it like the main statement. I find it hard to find anything that's an actual piece of clothing that's just one colour red that suits me, but that doesn't mean that I can't enjoy this colour. If you have done the whole colour analysis circus, you might enjoy this video up here that you can watch later, or I'll link it in the description, about my opinions and my experiments with colour analysis. But safe to say I'm sceptical, and that said that I shouldn't wear red, but I'm like, actually I love red. And you can't tell me what to do. You're not my mummy. So anyway, pops of red is something that I'd like to focus on in 2025. Blushing gingham is something that kept coming up. I feel like I already have one item that is black and white gingham, and while I love it, I think it is all that I need. It's a great layering piece. It's like a dress that you can layer in loads of different ways. It works in summer, works in winter. I don't think I need any more of that, even though I pinned quite a lot of it to my board. But another trend that I saw coming up was this blushing gingham. So not quite like pink or orange, but like either a mix of the two or somewhere in between. I thought that this was a fabric that would only be able to stand up with itself. Like you couldn't layer it or do anything else with it. And from looking at how other people are styling it, I'm like, you can do loads. It can work with lime green, it can work with lavender, it can work with blue, it can work with red. Like just seeing how other people style it, I'm like, this is an unexpected learning from this board, that this is actually a way more versatile pattern and colorway than I thought, and it actually might have a place in my wardrobe. Whereas before I'd be like, oh, it would just be a special occasion outfit if I had that, because it's really hard to style. But actually, the people of Pinterest have proved me wrong, and they look bloody stunning. The third one is tartan stacking. It's not just tartan. I do own a little bit of tartan, but stacking them together, sometimes with gingham, love that. But I love these skirts that have and they're really hard. I've never really seen them sold anywhere, but I see them on Pinterest occasionally. So they definitely feel like something worthwhile me making, because I don't even think I could find them if I wanted to, especially this high-low skirt at the front. I'm obsessed with that. I'm obsessed with it. So yeah, I love this. It's very kind of Vivienne Westwood, Helena Bonham Carter, Sweeney Todd, steampunk-esque. And that is also like an aspect of my style that's been very consistent since I was like 12. Like I've loved that style, as well as my more like hungover TV presenter, like children's TV presenter, primary school colours, like bright aesthetic. That's my other wing of my aesthetic that I think it's just like a very consistent thing in my life that I just seem to always gravitate towards. So very excited about tartan stacking, not just tartan, but stacking tartan on tartan. A slice of lime is the fourth one. And this, again, I used to have, and if you watch my videos, you might remember, I used to have a lime green cardigan that I wore for years, like a lot, and I got rid of it in the end, and I kind of regret that, to be honest. But I've really been missing lime in my life. This exercise really showed me that I'd been missing it. It just kept showing up everywhere. Like my subconscious is obviously obsessed with this, and it hadn't really occurred to me properly until doing this board. But slices of lime, either as like layering, as you can see, maybe just a whole dress of it. I love those socks. I just love it. I think it's amazing. And actually, since making this board, but before I made this video, I ended up knitting myself a lime green hat, which is incredibly fast to make. I think it took me like 2 hours, pretty inexpensive. I'd say the cost of the wool in total was probably about £6, and it's 100% wool, and I love it. I'll leave the pattern and the colour of wool that I used below. I already am like, I wouldn't have made this if it wasn't for this, and it just feels like one of the things that was missing from my wardrobe. I've been wearing it all the time. So I'm excited to make some more slices of lime for my wardrobe this year. And then finally, I mean, everybody knew that there was going to be some leopard print coming up. But I do think that sometimes in the last few years, I've been wearing leopard print as the statement for an outfit, rather than adding more stuff to it to make it more interesting and making me want to wear it more. I felt like I was just using my leopard print outfits and being like, well, I've made a statement now, don't need to add anything to it. Whereas this exercise showed me all the exciting ways that you can layer leopard print and like mesh it with other vibes to like, I don't know, just re-enlighten it, is that the word? To give it a little bit of oomph and rejuvenation, because I just think that I just should lean into how much I love leopard print and like let myself go wild with it, because it just feels like, again, one of the most consistent things about my style over the years is that I've always had leopard print in my wardrobe, and they've always been some of the most worn parts of my wardrobe as well. So instead of just being like, oh well, I already know that, so it's a pointless exercise, being like, but no, they're wearing it in, do I wear leopard print like that? Do I wear it with denim like that? Could I wear it with orange like that? Could I get some more layering pieces that are denim themed that would help me wear the other stuff in my wardrobe more often? Because I always feel like myself where I'm wearing leopard print, and I think that I should like be taking advantage of that more. So yes, there we have it. Red pop, blushing gingham, tartan stacking, slice of lime, and leopard layering are my 5 kind of keystones, my northern stars that I'm going to be looking towards when I'm deciding what to make. I really want to make a leopard print waistcoat. I think that would look amazing. I'm just looking at it being like, yes. And that wouldn't have occurred to me. I think I might have just been like, oh, I'll make a leopard print dress because I love dresses, and not thinking about those extra things. Maybe a bum bag that I can sling over myself as well. That would be really cool. I can see 2 people wearing that. Some of these aesthetics also combine stuff, which is really cool. So like this person here in the middle is in my leopard print layering section, but they've also got red socks, pop of red, and a red scarf. So that's very appealing to me too. How do you know what you really like to wear? I know it can be a bit of a mind fumble sometimes to work out what you genuinely like, as opposed to like what you're excited by or what is fashionable or trendy and that kind of thing. It's definitely something that I'm slowly trying to learn myself, but it is really hard to tell. Doing this exercise for me really helped because it felt like I wasn't being like, no, I'm wrong, like those things are wrong. I have these boards of inspiration where I'm just like in awe and irreverent and just like worshipping somebody else's art that they've made. But then I also have a separate board that's like, and how will I translate that to my wardrobe without copying pasting it? How do I transpose that into something that I will actually wear and love for a long time? Because I think that will make things sustainable whilst also preserving the joy. Because I feel like that's a danger with our conversations around sustainability and fashion. We're often negating the joy, and I think the joy might be the only way that this method is sustainable and will be interesting to everybody. And if it isn't interesting to everybody, then we're fucked. So we need to make this something that feels magnetic and doable and exciting and artistic, whilst also not just being like, I like it, I have it, I see it, I need it. So yeah, anyway, I hope that makes sense. Thank you so much for watching. I will share all the information that you might be curious about things that I've mentioned in this video below. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to the Gumption Club for making these videos possible, where I can talk about untangling your relationship with fashion without putting a sponsor in. So that's very fab of them. Thank you to the Gumption Club for making these videos possible and free to everybody. If you'd like to look at joining my Patreon, I have a lot of perks as well. I will leave the links to that below. Frogsnog out.